If Batman is going to be a Hitchcockian thriller, does that mean a new villain in the latest Bat flick? I'm DJ Wooldridge, and this is Screen Junkies News. Director Matt Reeves has said that his take on Batman could be a more noir-driven detective story, which is, if we're being honest, something we've heard before. That doesn't make it any less cool, though, and it may also signal a shakeup in the villains. Originally, Deathstroke was the villain of record for this upcoming project, but as great as that character is, being the center of a mystery plot isn't exactly what he was designed for. So, who could be challenging wits with Batman in his latest solo adventure? Here to discuss this with me is Adam Plavik. Hello, Adam.
Hello.
Welcome to
Batman.
To news. Welcome to news. So more Batman. We can't get enough Batman. Everybody should be talking Batman 24/7. So, Adam, people always keep promising us Batman mystery stories. They're like, hey, this one's going to be a mystery, and we've never quite gotten it. But in the comics, he's had a few good ones. What are some of Batman's most popular mystery stories from the comics?
I would definitely say that Hush and Long Halloween are very popular, and I think what makes those, particularly Hush, is because the character of Hush, Tommy Elliott, grew up with Bruce Wayne, and was a character that actually had a really big influence on that character and on Bruce Wayne and the skill sets that he took with him later on in his life when he became Batman. So I feel like that is a really cool mystery story of like how all these villains were brought together to kind of go up against Batman, how Hush was one of the characters who influenced all those other villains to basically go against Batman, and then unraveling that mystery of who that character is. And to general movie-going audiences, they have no clue who he is. Yeah,
that's very true. And also, it's interesting with both Hush and Long Halloween. Those are very interesting that they find a more personal mystery story, but they're able to surround it with some of Batman's most popular villains, which I think would work really well in a movie because people want the more colorful rogues to show up.
Yeah.
And so even though they might not be the focus, I think movies don't emphasize enough the idea that you could just have villains slip in and out and not necessarily be the one that's threatening the whole city.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of people who've been saying like, just adapt the Arkham Asylum story, and like that's another perfect example of villains just kind of being there, slipping in and out. You don't have to have 20 prominent villains. They can all kind of be in the story, but they don't have to all be prominently featured.
Another one that I think would be very interesting, I think lends itself to an older Batman, because Batfleck's version of Batman has been around for probably 20 years, I think, is the Court of Owls, because that again threatens Batman's understanding of Gotham and understanding of himself and is personal, while also being a less centralized threat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they are using Court of Owls to some extent in the Gotham show.
We don't need to talk about the Gotham show.
While a lot of people,
we don't need to talk about that.
Since people don't watch that show, it's not like it would affect the movie in any sort of way. If anything, it might give that audience a little bit more of an into that story,
into what's going on there.
Depending on how well it's done.
What are some villains? Those are some specific stories. What are some villains that kind of challenge Batman on a more psychological level, not counting the Joker, because let's be honest, we've gotten a lot of Joker.
We've had plenty of Joker. A character that I would love to see return, done in a different way, done more serious and more grounded, is the Riddler.
Interesting.
Edward Nygma is a cool character. I don't know if this is actually a Batman story, but someone pitched this to me, and I thought it's a really, really cool idea. The idea that Edward Nygma is a detective who has been transferred to Gotham City Police Department, and he's a new recruit. He's a younger guy, and he very much becomes hellbent on figuring out who Batman is. And he creates the Riddler persona as a way of trying to lure Batman in and figuring out who he is. But he becomes so obsessed with finding out who Batman is, he becomes so obsessed with the Riddler persona that he basically becomes that character, which is how the Riddler is born.
It's very interesting. I like that a lot. It's something, Riddler's always challenging because I think he's a very cool character. But it's challenging to distinguish him from the Joker, because even down to their color schemes, there's some similarities. But I think making it more personal about somebody trying to figure out who Batman is, as opposed to, I'm going to burn the whole city down.
Exactly, and I don't care.
Is an interesting place to take that character.
And I obviously, like that, in that sort of regard, he would be less of a comedic and more like a Seven. Like in Seven, the killer is very much more methodical and really thinks about the puzzle pieces to all the crimes that he's doing. So I think that would be a really interesting take on the character.
Character I would love to see in the movies, because he's newer and I think there's a lot of more ground to cover there, and I'd like to see him ascend to Pantheon level Bat villain, is Professor Pig. I think he's a very you talk about Seven, I think he's a very twisted in a very interesting way. I think challenges Batman in a very interesting way.
Yeah.
And he's just so iconic looking to me. I think it'd be a cool kind of twisted villain to add to the Bat movies.
Well, I think that's kind of the key with these Batman movies is I feel like sometimes we focus too much on pinning Batman against characters who are his equal in a both mental and physical state, but it'd be cool to have a villain kind of like what the Joker tends to sometimes be, is a character who maybe physically he's not as challenging as he can be, but mentally Batman really has to like fight an uphill battle to beat this villain.
Yeah, you know, you watch shows like Sherlock and they get a lot of mileage out of the trying to solve the puzzle.
Yeah,
like a good mystery.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And we don't really have. We've never seen Batman face a foe that presents them with a situation that we might not even know who the foe is until the end of the movie.
Exactly.
You know? And it'd be interesting to see him put in that position. Something that people have talked about is obviously there was hints of Jason Todd in Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
You know, if he was dealing with a serial murderer that was killing villains that ended up either being Jason Todd, Red Hood, or Azrael, that could be an interesting.
Yeah, those are types of stories. I think right now the big key is to really establish who Batman is in this universe, and I think we got a little bit of that with Batman versus Superman. I feel like if you make this standalone movie personal to a certain extent, but not so personal that Batman has to be that emotionally involved in it, then I think it really helps us establish who he is. And then in the second movie, I think that would be a really cool story to bring in Jason Todd and unravel that mystery.
So with that in mind, who would you make the villain of this Batman movie?
Of this Batman movie?
Yeah.
I mean, I really like the idea of that Riddler.
Who would be the Riddler in this? Who's the Riddler that goes toe to toe with Ben Affleck?
Oh, who's the actor?
Yeah, who do you think would play him?
Ooh, that's a good question. Damn, that's tough. That's tough. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of someone who like.
I'll vamp for you. Hold on. So no, I would think another thing I think would be interesting with the older Batman is something like Court of Owls, or even Batman R.I.P. Something that plays with the idea of this being an older Batman that has history and has baggage.
I
gave
agree.
you time. Did you come up with your Riddler?
I didn't think of anybody. No.
Okay. Well, let us know in the comments down below who you think should play Riddler. I would also like to know who you think would be a good villain for Batman to face in a more mystery-focused story. Thank you for watching. Please click here for more Screen Junkies news videos. Tweet us at SJ News. Don't forget to click that subscribe button down below and hit that little bell so you can receive immediate notifications about our latest videos. And we will see you next time.